Alright guys, so back for another video. Interval of increasing is the domain over which a function has a positive rate of change. The interval of decreasing is the domain over which a function has a negative rate of change. Put simply, if you look at a graph and as you read from left to right, it is climbing higher, it is going up, then that is considered increasing. If you look at a graph and as you move from left to right, if you start at the left and work your way right, if this is getting lower, then that would be decreasing. So when I look at this one, I am increasing across this entire domain. I start at the left and follow that line and it climbs and climbs and climbs, which means it's increasing the entire time. So I would say it's increasing for all real numbers or over its entire domain or anything like that. For decreasing, well, if this thing is increasing the entire time, then it's never decreasing. This is kind of like linear functions. When it was one or the other, not both. Now, when we did quadratics, you had sort of a mixture. There was some time when it was decreasing and then it turned around and went up. These are not like that. They're either increasing or they're decreasing. End of story. When I look at this one and I follow this line, even though it looks very different, still as I go left to right, it's climbing higher and higher. Even up here where it starts to level off, we've discussed the fact that it looks like it's just hit 4 and it's staying there, but really it's making tiny, tiny fractional changes as it gets closer and closer to 4. So it is increasing over its whole domain, which its domain we just discussed is all real numbers. Again, if it's increasing the whole time, then it's never decreasing. An example of what a graph would look like if it were decreasing would be one that looked like, oh gosh, I'm bad at drawing these guys, sorry. One that goes down like that and decreases. If it had been flipped over in negative and was decreasing, then it would look like this. Okay, so both of those are decreasing because as I go left to right, it continues to go down. As I go left to right, it continues to go down. Okay, so that's what it would look, that's sort of the general shape if it's decreasing. And we're going to get more into that as we move on to looking at these more algebraically. What does it mean when they're decreasing and what do we call that in exponential functions? All right, I didn't give you any extra little practice problems because I feel like these are pretty straightforward and we've seen them a lot. So go ahead and get started on the next video unless you have any questions.